Okay, I just noticed on this mount, actually I noticed it a little while ago, but on the Gulcher, and this is probably the same on all the Gulchers because they all have this little potion bottle, you can hear the potion, like the sound that it makes with like, I don't know, like a little popping sound. Let's turn up the sound effects. Okay, I need to get away from this river. Listen to that. No, not the Gulcher. There's a little pop every time it goes up. Like the cork of the bottle. But like, why would it make the sound every single time? That's kind of annoying. And then when you walk around, it goes even faster. Like, I don't know. I was just using the Gulcher recently and I realized that. I'm like, wow, that's actually kind of annoying. So that's something that you have to deal with on the Gulcher. If you use it enough, you'll probably like start hearing that. And I understand it's like the sound effect of the mount, but when you're like running around and it does it every 2 seconds, I don't know, a little bit annoying. So I just discovered that. But that is not what this video is about. This video is about Wizard101 and its hardcore players, kind of comparing that to new players and just the general community of Wizard101. So to start things off, this discussion was basically, it started with the initial like reports and people's opinions about the nerf, which the first time I heard about that on Twitter, because I wasn't even watching, it was during KI Live, but I wasn't even watching KI Live because I had to do something, so I missed like the first 30 minutes, and that's when they talked about this nerf, and I was like, wait, are they serious? There's actually going to be a nerf? And then it kind of stemmed from that. We kind of actually had the nerf, which I was still surprised by. You probably saw that video of me looking at the mob health when the nerf went live. And I was still surprised. I'm like, wow, they nerfed it by this much. You know, this much health is now gone. And now we kind of have another discussion. It's still about the nerf, and I don't know why people still, I guess, on the forums, on the message boards. I don't even go on the Wizard101 message boards. I kind of just see the stuff that people post from the message boards on Twitter. I feel like for me, the general discussion of Wizard101 news is on Twitter, sometimes my YouTube comments, but mostly Twitter. So I've been looking around at that, and I've seen kind of a resurgence of this, and looking into it, it kind of got me thinking about Wizard101 and who the hardcore audience is, who the casual audience is, like the new players, how they fit into this too. And thinking about Mirage, in the beginning, when Blue and I did our speed run on Test Realm through the entire world of Mirage, we spent 8 hours straight going through it. That is probably the most hardcore that I will be with Wizard101. I feel like day to day, I'm not a hardcore player because I don't even do that much. When I'm leveling Blue and I with the walkthrough, that's not hardcore. We're taking forever to do it. And the people that are hardcore players, I mean, overall, would people consider me a hardcore player? Yeah, probably. Just because of the time invested and everything. But I have a different distinction. Like, right now, I don't consider myself a hardcore player because of the day-to-day activity that I do on Wiz isn't really that much. And I would consider the real hardcore players the people that actively hatch pets a lot, because that is something that I can never do. People that actively hatch pets, create new pets, I consider that one of the more like difficult aspects of Wizard101, and I commend the people that can do that. And that is one of the like more hardcore aspects because not everyone can do it. In order to hatch a pet, you have to have gold. In order to continuously hatch, you need to have crowns. In order to continuously train a pet, you need to have pet snacks. And all this stuff requires time, effort, the right like plants in order to get those snacks. So it requires a lot of time in order to get all that. So I consider that probably one of the more hardcore aspects of this. People will consider having like the best gear in the game as being a hardcore player because you've worked for that. And I can see why they would say that because I'm sure a lot of people that did Mirage had Darkmore gear because it's been around since level 100. So there is a wide range of time between Darkmore and Mirage where people could have got that gear. But I understand that not everyone is going to get that. But still. So is Darkmore for only the hardcore players? In the beginning maybe, but now I feel like they've changed it. They've nerfed Darkmore, just like anything. Was there as big of a uproar about Darkmoor being nerfed as Mirage? No. But that's because I guess people welcome the Darkmoor change just because it was easier. But it's kind of the same with Mirage, just not on the same level. I'm glad Darkmoor was nerfed, but I guess I'm not as glad that Mirage was nerfed. But then again, it gives me the feeling like I'm glad that I did Mirage and completed it on one of my characters, technically two if you count test run before the nerf. So that makes me kind of like feel better about it. But going on to kind of the next point, there is going to be a like more dedicated fan base for the game, and that's with every game. There's going to be a more dedicated group of people that enjoy discussing the game, enjoy sharing their own opinions, sometimes really strong opinions about it, and I see this mostly on Twitter, and I feel like that's where everyone is kind of centered around that, and you know, people follow each other, people actively will tweet about stuff, and I like seeing that. The other place is probably on the Wizard message boards, and then also probably on Central, but I honestly have not been on Central except the wiki in a really long time. I remember I used to actively look at the message board and see what the new posts were, but I haven't done that in forever. I don't know, I just don't feel like there's a need to. But the wiki on Central is still really nice. So there is a distinctive group of people that enjoy putting a lot of time into the game, enjoy getting the best gear, and there are just the people that play for fun. And the people that play for fun, it's probably really difficult for them to get from level 1 to level 120. And I was thinking about this recently. I'm like, how much time do you think it would actually take in order to get that far in the game? Because now we have the level 50 boost, but even if you use that, you still have 70 more levels to go in order to get to 120, which is the max. So that's still a long time. So in order to get through the entire storyline, you can do it pretty fast. I mean, I know Lewis does his like speed runs of worlds really quickly. He can level characters a lot. He's leveled way more characters in Wizard than I have for various reasons, but there are people that have done it a lot. I personally have not only leveled, well, I only have 2 max level characters. I'm getting a 3rd, and I mean, that's it. I don't really level too many characters. I basically use what I have, but I feel like it just kind of depends on the time you invest in the game. And people that don't put that much time into a game and see someone that puts a ton of time would consider them hardcore, even if that person who puts all that time into the game maybe doesn't consider them as a hardcore player. I don't know. It's really hard to distinctively find who would consider themselves a hardcore player. I mean, I do it sometimes during test realm. Yes, I would definitely consider myself a hardcore player, but I don't know. It kind of varies. So, and then I was thinking, is there going to be a point in Wizard where only these dedicated fans of the game, these dedicated players, are going to be progressing further? Because we're getting up to the point with levels where it takes just a crazy amount of time in order to get to the max level from level 1, or just from an earlier level. Even from level 50 to level 120 will take you a long time. So I kind of feel like for casual players, we're getting to the point where not that many casual players are going to be at the top of the game, are not going to be at level 120. And as we get further, if they release another world this year, that's going to increase the level cap by at least 5, maybe 10. If they go to level 130, that's a really high level cap. I mean, if you make a new Wizard and you look at all the worlds ahead of you, you might not even want to continue because you're like, wow, I have so much left with that, and I'm not sure if I want to put all the time and effort into that, and they might not see it's worth it. So that's where KingsL kind of has to make the decision here. Like, how do they want to continue progressing with the game with levels? Do they just want to keep, with every expansion, increase the level cap? The players at the top always want another increase, another expansion, but then that kind of alienates the players like in the middle who haven't really gotten to the max level, and it just makes it like makes them have to spend more time in order to get to the top. So I'm not sure exactly where KingsL is going to go with it. Obviously, I want them to continue creating worlds. I want the level cap to keep increasing, but it kind of makes me think, is there a point when it's too much, when there's too much leveling, that it would take so much time in order to get from level 1 to the max level? And maybe their option, their solution to that is to create another potion. Now that we have only 6 character slots and 7 schools, when are we going to get that 7th one? I think they maybe mentioned that they were going to add it. I'm not sure if they did or not. Was it in a Feedback Friday or something? But if they do add the 7th character slot, I mean, that makes sense because then you can have one of each different school, and people would be more inclined to want to buy a potion. Actually, now that I think about it, level 90 boost makes more sense than 100 because, at least at this point in the game, because then you would finish Azteca at level 90. Level 100, you would have finished Chrysalis, so I think that's too much of a boost. Level 90 boost seems more likely, but they could always wait until there's a higher level cap and then incorporate the level 100 boost. But I don't know, it's just kind of an interesting thought that I had today about like where the game is progressing, if they're going to keep adding levels, and kind of how the general community is reacting to that. And you know, if it might alienate more players to not want to play the game just because they see how much content there is, or maybe that brings in players that are like, wow, there's a lot of stuff to do in this game. But I don't know. So that is probably gonna do it for this video. A little bit of rambling, but I just had some interesting thoughts that I wanted to share with you guys on the subject of hardcore players and kind of the future of the game with the leveling system. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will see you all in my next video.